question for you. Last week, Dan said he couldn't make it. Enjoy RRR, guys, and this week at the last minute he bailed. Do you think Dan Sears watched this movie?
I do not think he watched the movie.
And do you think he'll listen to this podcast and find out that we talked about him behind his back?
Well, you see, Dan Sears listens to a lot of podcasts, so it's possible, even probable. No, there's no way.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Dan Sears. We hope you enjoyed today's movie discussion. Thanks for listening.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club. My name is Tim Larson here with Ryan Malo, Mike Wilden, Mike Hilty, Aaron Lashbrook, and Beelar, Brian Larson. We're here to talk about movie number 236. This is a movie from India, I believe. It's called RRR from 2022, directed by S.S. Rajamouli. And forgive me if I pronounce that incorrectly, but I'm just a white boy. So, pretty successful movie. I don't really know the exchange rate here for what a crore is, but it looks like this made 3 times as much as it cost. So they did pretty well here. An explosion of visual and audio stuff going on in this movie. And it's out there a bit, so this ought to be an interesting conversation. So let's light this match and set fire to this thing. We'll start with Brian Larson. Brian, your thoughts on the movie RRR?
Well, Tim, first I'd like to thank you for picking it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Think your love of foreign films is shown through on this one, and wow, I went into it, I got that text from Aaron during the week about, hey, I'm into it, guys. Let's, buckle down. So didn't have the right attitude going into it. Thank you, Aaron. But
My fault.
I loved this movie.
Yeah.
I was blown away by it. I wanted to watch another Bollywood type movie afterwards. It was something. I mean, the characters, the Behan and Ram, and not knowing a lot about their cultural in the history and such. This movie was basically in honor of the heroes who helped fight for the freedom, get them away from under British rule.
Yeah, it looks like it, right? They put pictures up at the end when they were doing the big dance scene. That's what I'm taking away from it as well. Is it's not the story, but it's kind of a fictionalized version of the story, maybe.
That's kind of, yes. Did anyone notice the documentary that they had on Netflix also, the hour and a half? It was RRR Beyond or Above and Beyond or something like that. I watched
only
it.
an
That
hour
was
and a
there.
half, huh? Only an hour and a half. That's
I got
something.
through that really quick. I was going to watch the movie again,
They should have called it RR.
but basically it was the director. They kind of broke down what they did for some of the scenes and how they did what they
shot 'em?
did. Yeah, it's really interesting. There's like guys in blue suits running around with stuffed tigers, like from the beginning scene when he's getting chased. But yeah, I ended up watching that today and I really enjoyed it. Watching the actors, it was like I wasn't sure because seeing them at the end, they seem kind of skinnier and not as big and built as they were in the movie. So I didn't know if they digitized them up or what. But after watching the documentary, no, those, they kind of bulked themselves up for the part that they need to play and or slim down. So I think it was just a matter of the choice at the time was, we're going to do this and this is how we want you to look. So it actually was Dan's pick. The girl from the Crawdad movie where the Crawdads are.
Mhm.
She was actually supposed to be the American girl in the movie,
Oh,
and she had to leave for family reasons. So they brought in someone else for that. So then now I think maybe Dan picked it because,
Sneaky Dan,
sneaky Dan.
who is not here today, notably.
Correct. Um,
Should make him do the next one, Tim.
Oh, that's a good point.
the music, the dancing, all that, there was just choreography was phenomenal. Um, the song, the Natu Natu, which sounds like Nacho Nacho.
Oh, the Nacho dance song.
That's the Nacho dance song. Uh,
Dance, dance.
that won an Academy Award.
They really.
It won the Oscar for
Yeah, what?
original song in 2023.
And it absolutely deserved it as well.
Yeah, which then makes me think Hilty picked it.
Mhm.
I'm on the gambit.
This is
Oscars.
a wicked game.
It's yeah. But yeah, the just like I said, great movie. Really got into it, enjoyed it. Didn't do a lot of research afterwards, except watching the documentary where I learned a few more things. The hardest part for me was I had the subtitles on and listening, and the inaccuracy
They didn't line up.
that they just, it didn't make hardly any sense. And trying to follow both kind of got confusing at times. I actually got confused when he was coming out saying how he wasn't Akhtar and he wasn't a Muslim and I am Behan. And, it was like, wait, why does he call him Behan now? I don't get that. And then it was like kind of rewatched a little bit of some of the parts. And that was one of the ones that was like, okay, this makes a lot more sense. And I think him coming off the truck with all the animals, maybe the best superhero landing in the history of cinema.
It's pretty good.
So
Pretty good.
that's what I have to say about the movie for now. And I will reserve the right to speak again or interrupt someone.
Okay, I have to do this because you're Brian, and pronouncing names correctly is never your thing, and you don't apologize for it. Behan is the sheriff from Tombstone, and this character's name is Bahim. Just for the listeners tuning in there, did you find? I don't have a lot of questions because Sneaky Dan put me on the hook here. Did you have a hard time following which characters were which at any time during this movie?
No, I'm not so racist that they all look alike.
You just can't pronounce them.
Right. I can't say their names. I know who they are.
There was a big cast, of like side characters. There were uncles here and people you're working with and, guards and stuff. Just wondering if anybody or anybody else, you can chime in when this gets to be your turn. If you felt like you ever had trouble following along with who was in the scene.
I mean, yeah. I had some trouble with it. I'll just say it. I had a little trouble just following the story at the beginning, just because I don't know. I also fell asleep during part of the movie, and had to rewind it. But like, that has nothing to do with the movie. That's just my kind of current situation right now. But yeah. I mean, it's a movie from another country that isn't, it's English dubbed. So like, yeah, it's a little hard to follow sometimes. It happens.
All right.
Let's move on.
I did want to jump back.
Sorry, Brian.
Two quick things. Ray Stevens, it was nice to see him. I didn't know, and I wanted to look it up. Just kind of like, is he known in India? Do they like him? Is that how they got him to do it, kind of thing? And two, his wife's a cunt. I mean, and yeah, I went
the character
there.
in the movie. This is not disparaging Ray Stevens' wife.
Just,
right. The wife in the movie.
I mean, saying this a lot. Brian Larson's opinions do not necessarily reflect those of the rest of us in the BTB movie club. Do you have any evidence as to why she's more
the one who threw
you need evidence?
She threw the whip with the nails out. Yeah. She bought the kid for a couple of coins.
Yeah,
just because she
Why isn't there enough blood? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you with that, but yeah, same idea.
I feel those are pretty good reasons.
Okay. All right. That's you make a good case. You make a good case.
All right.
Stunt
Thank
indeed.
you.
Moving on to another opinion. Let's see how volatile we can get here. We'll go to Ryan Malo. Malo, your thoughts on RRR?
Okay. Yeah, so a couple things were already the same. I right at the top I had dubbed and subtitles. Interesting the differences. So um I when we talked about it last time, I wasn't sure, but then I remembered ads for this, looking it up, and some friends that had talked about it and saying it was fun, and I just missed it a couple years ago. And in watching the trailer, like I'm like, this looks like just a lot of fun with the fight scenes and all that stuff. And then it's, kind of Bollywood stuff. So you expect some of the singing and all of that. And it didn't disappoint in any of those areas. It was just probably longer than it needed to be. And while I really appreciate how they do it, even especially the credits, I thought was really interesting with the dance scene and singing and all of that stuff. Um, the main one in the middle of the movie was just it felt like it went on a little too long for me.
The nacho dance?
I guess. Yes. Yeah. The other thing, I mean, this is like just straight melodrama, right? Where there's no, I mean, I guess the only ambiguous character is Ram, but even then, like, he only did the bad things because he's so good. I mean, it's just very, very black and white in that way, which is fine, but it is. Um, the, they have a huge list of animals at the beginning that weren't harmed. I thought was just hilarious that they had to list that many animals. What the hell am I in for, man? Old school with lots of credits at the beginning. I thought they were starting the movie, then nope, more credits. So it took a little while to get going. But then I was so happy to see Stevenson. There were certain things where I was a little confused. I didn't think that was her daughter for some reason.
Age
She
difference
looked
didn't
young,
look
I think,
very
yeah.
big.
And then, man, what a violent scene. Which one of the last things I wrote was what I put. I put mom's okay. I'm like, that's one of the least believable things in this whole movie.
Yeah, she didn't look okay when we saw her the last time.
No, she did not. That the opening fight sequence for Ram or Fire, that whole thing where he goes to get the guy who insulted him, or to try and get the spot on the special forces, was awesome. Just fighting thousands of guys. I mean, the action sequences were just so fun. They're so over the top and creative, and sometimes strange, but I was on board for it. There was another one where I wrote, I'm like, here are two dudes fighting with one on the other's shoulders. I put, so badass. Like if you describe that to me, I'm like, I don't know, man. It seems kind of weird. And it was just fucking, like, he reloaded his guns. It was the whole flip thing. It was a lot of fun with all that stuff. I'm gonna put, when they have their meet cute, I guess. I put, like, that was the easiest way to save that kid, is with the rope and the bridge and the
Well, that's the only one they had hand signals for.
They were on the same page. So all right. Let me see. Ram's a fantastic wingman. Let me see.
I had that same thought.
Yeah,
like word for word. Like, wow.
Speaking of that, real quick, Neil, if you don't mind, when the whole thing with the dubbed,
right,
obviously the girl was speaking differently than he could understand. That Akhtar Bahim, is that?
Yep,
Bahim, yeah.
Yeah, but when they dubbed it, it was like she's like, "Would you like to come have some coffee?" And Ram says, "She's asking if you want to go have some coffee." It's like,
Right.
It took a minute. It took a minute to figure out what the fuck was going on there. It did.
right. So, thank you.
So Tim asked about like keeping characters straight and that. So there were two. The first guy that Ram, I can't remember why he grabbed him, and then he went and hid, like because he said he wanted to kill the guy, right? Like so he said he wanted to kill the mayor or governor or whatever his role, Stevenson's role was.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm in on that. Let's go over here and talk about it." And then he grabbed him, and that guy ran away. There was another time later where I wasn't sure that was the same guy, but the main one was Ram. I wrote. I did not realize at first that was him. I missed that part of the story, and so at one point I thought there were these two dudes that were going to buddy up against that guy. It didn't take too long, but I wrote that mustache is like Clark Kent's glasses, at least to me. Because I don't know, with the beard, it just looked different than when he did with the mustache. I put dope with the animals off the truck. That was awesome, where they come flying in the slow motion. Let me see. Oh, at one point I wrote he's Wolverine. Oh, because he grabs the and then later I wrote he's Hawkeye because he's just sniping everything or shooting arrows at everything.
Yeah.
John Wick elements, just a lot of like fun stuff. Especially, I definitely much preferred the action sequence and was on board for that. The other stuff was fine, but like I said, it just was a little long for me. Oh, they got me. I wrote oh shit because I thought he killed him with that with the rock or whatever he had. And they're fighting in the desert.
Times.
Yeah. And then I wrote, oh, you got me. There was a flashback in a flashback. He sniped the guy through the megaphone. That was dope. One of the English soldiers looked like John Rahm. Anybody think that? The pro golfer?
The golfer?
Yes. I was like, is that John Rahm? Anyway, I'm going to guess no, but it'd be really cool if it was. The only other, these guys, were they the ones actually singing too? Like, are they triple threats?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad Brian watched this documentary, to be honest.
That's
I'd have a whole bunch of I don't know for you guys today.
It's pretty common in Bollywood movies that everybody's got to do all of the above because
sure.
Because in Bollywood movies, musical numbers are very common.
Right.
So you got to do your own singing and dancing for that. Otherwise, you're out.
That's pretty impressive. There were so many well-filmed shots that are well-framed, rather, shots. A lot of different, like through the barbed wire or all these different things, or from above where he was about to be flogged, looked like a cross. There was just a lot of well-framed shots, clearly well thought out. I don't know. I had a couple of little things here and there, but overall, it was basically what I thought it was going to be, which was a lot of fun. It was just, I wish it was 2 hours and 20 minutes of fun instead of 3 hours.
Right.
Anyway, that's what I got.
Dan texted me and he had a question specifically for you, Melo.
Okay.
What do the 3 R's stand for?
Rise, roar, revolt.
Oh, well done. Well done, Melo. We'll let Dan know that you handled that one really well. And as the former English teacher in the room here, how did you feel about the plot? Were you okay with the plot, or was it ridiculous? Was it enough just to follow it and enjoy the movie? How does the plot stand up for a storyteller?
I always talk about consistency within the world that they created, and for the most part, I think they achieved that. Like I said, I mean, it was very melodramatic. That like all of this over, not that you wouldn't be upset. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Buying a child for 2 coins, Uh, but that leading to this whole other, like, I mean, that was like the opening little thing, and then all the rest of this story unfolds, and all these other layers, and all of that. But I don't know, as far as story, other than when Ram goes undercover, I guess double undercover, that was the only part that was a little confusing to me. But once I got it, and even then they did like the flashback of how of with his parents, and leaving and all of that, and then they only give you a glimpse of it, and I was still confused. But then they went and did a whole 25 minutes or whatever it was on all of that, which
Yeah.
really makes it make a lot of sense. So
That did fill in some question marks when that scene came up for sure. And it's one of the better scenes in the movie, I think, when
yeah,
the kid's just the sniper of all snipers. It's a
dad too.
given talent there, apparently. Okay. We'll move on to the next person here. Mike Wilden, you said you did a little sleeping during the movie. Before I get to this, did anybody actually make it through all 3 hours in one sitting?
I did.
Mela made it through in one sitting. That is a tribute to you as a moviegoer.
I had
Man.
pauses, but it never shut off. Like,
Okay.
I left the room a few times, but like,
Yeah,
is that
get another
considered
drink.
one sitting? So, I mean, like,
I,
left and maybe like took a break,
yeah.
but
Oh.
20 minutes tops, if that, probably
Oof.
closer to 10.
I actually watched this thing twice. The first time I saw it, I fell asleep at least 3 times. And then yesterday I gave it a watch again, and I fell asleep in the middle of it again yesterday. I had to take a break, take a nap, and get back to it. So it's a long watch. It is a long watch with a lot going on. Mike Wilden, your thoughts on RRR, which of course stands for Rise, Roar, and Revolt.
I enjoyed it a lot. I uh I was a little confused because they had the like for part of the movie it didn't seem like it was something that stuck, but for a little while it was like every half hour or so they'd suddenly show the title RRR again.
Mm-hmm.
And one
With
of
different
those it said
words.
like yeah, and it was like water, and it was the R in water. I'm like, wait, why is that's so I didn't know that it was Rise War Revolt. That makes a lot more sense. Um, so I didn't understand what I was watching at first. So like when I saw Bahim like in the in the jungle and he's like holding the tiger by the rope and everything, I'm like, that's a little much.
Which I
Okay,
know I'm going to get a shut up nerd out of this, but there's no fucking way that guy holds that tiger back in that net. Come on.
Shut up,
okay, so
nerd.
He was
yeah,
all hopped up on the green stuff though.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
I understand a lot. Like, I actually appreciate it a lot more because I was doing some reading about this during and after the movie. Uh, After I rewound and watched the part that I missed when I fell asleep. Um, so the director of this or the writer, whoever it was very, very influenced by Quentin Tarantino, specifically Inglorious Bastards.
Hmm.
And so, and he kind of says something like, hey, like if you're doing like a historical fiction, you don't necessarily have to get the history spot on. Like if you're presenting it as a documentary, sure, but like this clearly isn't like a documentary. This is an action movie. This is, a fun tale. This is a fictional story. So, he kind of took that whole thing of like, Inglorious Bastards and, what happens to Hitler and that. Um, and so that made a lot more sense. I'm like, oh, okay, this is supposed to be over the top. Like they're basically essentially going to be superheroes here. And then that kind of helped me appreciate it a lot more. Um, eh, Melo said a lot of different scenes that were pretty cool. I'm not going to repeat them all. I think my favorite was when Rom just went into a sea of people and just started beating the hell out of all of them. But yeah, I mean, character work was great, acting was great, action was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't really have a ton else to say about it, I guess. I had one quote that was written down. I think I don't remember where I got this from, but they're just kind of the theme of the movie. There's something. Okay, I'll just read it. The friendship which develops between Ram and Beam as Akhtar, while attempting to rescue this child, is one of human brotherhood. People cutting across all religions and regions are shown participating in their common fight against the Britishers. The film builds on the idea of love between religions, camaraderie of the studying people, and promotes the idea of inclusion. Um, there's just I it seemed like there were a lot of people that had a lot of really good things to say about this movie, and so I was kind of reading through them and reading that and reading the comments of the person that I again can't remember if wrote or directed or both, but um once I understood the influence, especially of Tarantino, I was like, oh yeah, okay, this makes this is a Bollywood Tarantino movie, and it was an awesome one. I would watch this again, and I I'm glad the individual that picked it.
Excellent. Question for you. Last week, Dan said he couldn't make it. Enjoy RRR, guys, and this week at the last minute he bailed. Do you think Dan Sears watched this movie?
I do not think he watched the movie.
And do you think he'll listen to this podcast and find out that we talked about him behind his back?
Well, you see, Dan Sears listens to a lot of podcasts, so it's possible, even probable. No, there's no way.
Yeah, zero chance on that. There's that meme that you know, uh, odds are really good that you'll never get attacked by a golden retriever, but never zero. This is a zero. Dan listening to this is a zero. Okay, so now Melo brought up something a couple minutes ago about how some of the shots were framed. But for me, this is a visual explosion of a movie, and Aaron is normally our guy to talk about that. So I want to go to Aaron and get your opinion on just how visually this movie grabbed you, or if you were just about to talk about that anyway, I'll just shut up and get out of your way. Your thoughts on RRR?
I really like the movie. There was a lot of colored action. Thank you.
Okay, all right. That was very in depth and soulful. We'll go back to Aaron Lashbrook and get your thoughts on RRR.
All right. I did like it. I really liked it. I told everybody, and most people know out here, nobody in my family, and, we actually had a little get together with my dad's side of the family last night, and like nobody had seen a Bollywood movie or was interested in watching one, except I would assume I do have one cousin who would be right up his alley, but he wasn't there. So I don't want to say everybody, but those present. But yeah, I mean, I've talked about it since I've watched it. Seriously though, the color spectacular, the CGI out of this world.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
maybe one or two
Yeah.
little things here or there. A lot of what I was going to talk about. It seems in a 3 hour plus movie there'd be lots and lots to talk about, but basically it's kind of already been covered. So like some of the stuff I wrote down because I watched it with subs and dubs, and we had this conversation weeks ago, months ago. I'd asked more of the seasoned international film viewers, what do they just take the dub and type that in? And I was told no, and this actually really confirmed that
It's
because
not even close.
the
It's so
the,
bad.
the dubbing they were doing was way off from the subtitles, and it didn't favor one way or the other. Sometimes the subtitles were way more descriptive than what they were saying, and other times they were saying way more than was typed into the subtitle. So either way, I don't know if I just said the same thing twice. Sometimes they were saying more, sometimes they were typing more. Let's go with that.
Okay, fair.
That's what I wanted to say if I didn't say it the first time. And I wrote down a few of them, but this was one that was just my favorite was when Bahim was coming down the alley in a long shot, and Ram was with his uncle, I believe. I never confused any of the characters. I didn't have a problem with that at all. I think maybe one of the ones you guys were talking about earlier was who I believe I'm going to call him Bahim's brother. Um, but you know, I don't think that was an issue for me. It wasn't anyway. But anyway, he's coming up the walkway, sidewalk, alleyway, and he's got a chunk of beef over his arm, and we find out
Right.
later he's feeding it to a tiger. And what the uncle says is, "Do you think that's enough for him?" Um, and oh, see now I can't. And the what does it say? The dub says, so what he says in words is, I don't think so. But then the subtitle says, don't cast an evil eye upon my friend.
Right.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I had to rewind that and look again because I didn't know what I missed. But
They clearly
um,
paid two different people at two different times to do those two different things, right?
yeah.
Somebody is taking the language and doing a screenplay for the dub, and then somebody else is rewriting it for the subtitles.
But it's like after a week of work or something, they switch because then all of a sudden the words get more wordy and
yeah,
the
yeah,
subtitles get less descriptive. Um, just the I really liked the dance numbers and the songs and stuff. The whole and Melo throwing out the melodrama. I'm assuming that means soap opera. Um, just because like the wind, the unpredictable gust of wind has blown them together, and now they walk the same path. I loved all that. Like the song was just telling the story, and other than the dance where they just said nacho, nacho, nacho 100 million times.
right.
For the most part, the other songs actually like didn't really have a chorus or anything. It was just singing what was happening, which I don't know, I kind of dug.
I like that too, and I had a little trouble with it because I wanted to read it,
Right.
but there was also a lot of visual shit going on. So you had to kind of split your time between reading what the words were saying or watching the scene as it played out. And it reminded me of reading Lord of the Rings, where he had tons of like poems and songs in after like action sequences or whatever. And I would always kind of glaze over while reading those because it's cool, but also it's like not essential that you get every word out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's how I felt about these songs as well. But if it's in my native language and I can hear the song and watch the scene, I bet it's more impactful.
Right. I could see that. Um, I did like the twists and turns and so many of them and the backstories and like this, being a whatever they call them in Spanish. Don't they have their own version of like soap operas? But are they just
Telenovela.
yeah? There you go. That's what I was trying to think of. I just didn't want to say it. Um, no, I don't. No, I couldn't actually think of it. Um, just with the twists and turns and the backstories, and so like the first time after they had become friends, and then Ram had figured out, and he knows he's got to fight him. Like I wrote on the paper, no, they're gonna, they got to fight, which we knew was coming up. But then like the double Uno reverse when you find the backstory, even more. He's just really trying to get the guns. Um, oh, I just wrote in one of the like picky little goof I saw during that awesome epic animals coming out of the side of the trailer, that whole fight. I mean, he threw a tiger at a guy. Um, there was once where it seemed, I'm pretty sure, in the fountain, it was hit and toppled over, and like one of the wings on whatever it was a cherub or some type of griffin or whatever, kind of flapped like it was rubber.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't, that was just one little thing. I did like the whole fire and water and coming
Mhm.
together, and the whole, I liked how the R's came in and at different times, and it was all very different and very enjoyable, and it kept my attention. I never fell asleep. Um,
Be fair, again, I was exhausted. It wasn't the movie.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not
I
blaming
wasn't. I
anybody.
just fell asleep.
Yeah, I was shocked, I guess, but not mad that when paused it that first time, and I was like an hour and 20 minutes in, and there was
Right.
still over, an hour and 5 minutes in, and there was over 2 hours to go. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But like I said, I wasn't really mad about it. Um, the twists and turns kept my attention. The cinematography was great. I loved the songs, the dancing, I was totally into. Um, I really liked all of it. So I got nothing really to complain about.
Nice. Um, Trying to come up with a question here. I got nothing, so I'll just move on to the next person. Dan failed to text me a question specifically for you, Aaron, and I'll talk to him about that.
Okay.
Let's see. Hilty, we haven't heard from you. Your thoughts on the movie RRR? Had you seen this before?
Yes, I had seen it before. First time I saw it, I I really liked it, and then rewatching it this time, I think I'm ready to say that I love it.
Mm.
Um it's I call this a Stefan movie. This movie has everything. This movie has music, it has tigers, it has action, it has love, it has revenge. It has a little bit of everything for everyone. The Everybody's commenting about the sub and the dub version of this. There's a small part of me that wonders if this is a Netflix problem, because Netflix
Oh.
historically has not been very good with their subs or their dubs. Um, like Squid Game, for example. Squid Game's dub is atrocious, and it just kind of makes you wonder. It's like you've got all this money, kind of makes you wonder, why can't you get the dub right? But or maybe it's something else. I don't know, but I am starting to wonder if it's potentially a Netflix problem with that.
Just
Are you raising your hand? Like go ahead.
That was really polite.
Thank you, I guess.
that was the
I,
intention.
I cede the floor to Melo.
Well, anytime so normally I don't like normally I like listening in the native tongue and then reading the subtitles. Like that is preferred. For whatever reason, this was defaulted with dub and sub, and so I just left it to see how I liked it. Um, but I wonder, like, anytime, part of the reason I don't like the dubbing is because it makes me think of like the old was Saturday Morning Showdown, or Sunday Samurai, whatever. Like they would show all those old kung fu movies and everything, and they would have comical lip reading, and a lot of comics
Right.
have done stuff about all that. But I think they try to fit the words, like the meaning, like the premise of what they're saying, into the amount of time or motions that they have to work with, and so I wonder if that accounts for some of the difference as opposed to accuracy. Anyway, that's all.
Yes, maybe. You could be right. I'm not sure about that. I did read that the sequence for Natu Natu was filmed 18 times, just to make sure that they got all the camera angles. And I can't remember if I was reading it correctly, that it was filmed outside as well, and it was god off. They looked god awfully hot in that, regardless if it was a soundstage or if it was like actually on site. But um, I thought that was hilarious. This took 300 days to film, which that's a very long time, but that also makes sense considering it's a 3 hour long movie as well. Um, there's a.
Hilty, I believe the dance scene took 18
I'm sorry, I don't
days.
recognize you until you raise
I-
your hand. Tim, could you assist and mute him for a second?
No, some of these rules have just taken off on their own. I don't really can't help
Oh,
you
go
there.
ahead.
Yeah, I believe they said it took 18 days, not 18 takes. And I wasn't
Wow.
positive on that until you just said that they filmed for 300 days. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Regardless, that's a long time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
film to film one dance sequence for that. And you just got up and left. Okay, I get
So,
it.
well,
Fine.
since we're on this, let me jump in here too. Uh, does anybody know the technique for filming? Because it looks very interesting. It doesn't necessarily look like they just captured it live. It almost looks like, um, you know how when you were a kid and you drew pictures in the book and you made a flip book, like there's that kind of feel in this. So it looks like they filmed it and then they took out little chunks to make it jump from here to there to make it really pop. I don't know if anybody knows the technique there or what I'm talking about, but some of those action sequences didn't just look like it was filmed live. It looked almost animated because of uh, how it was shot, which I really enjoyed.
I thought they looked like Terrence and Phillip from South Park at one point with their heads, the way their heads were moving and stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think you're talking about, right?
Are
It
you talking
is.
about the? All right, I thought you were talking about like the Indian head wiggle that they
No,
when
I did
Derek
enjoy that
Green
too,
was.
but I just mean during the dance and action sequences, there were quite a few times where it just didn't look like they were capturing it live. There was some kind of an effect on the camera, and I don't know what it is, or even if there is one. But that's
Well,
my
this might be another thing because I rented it before it was on Netflix, and I've currently lost my access to Netflix. I'm assuming they did a sweep after Happy Gilmore came out, so I never got a chance to watch it on Netflix. Um, but no, I never noticed what you're talking about.
okay. Sorry, Hilty. Carry on, or if you know the answer to that question, feel free to address it.
No.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Nope. The I mean, everybody has kind of taken a lot of the same things that I would have said about this. That the action sequences is in this are great. Uh, the music is great. The story is kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit, and that's okay. It is what it is with that. Um, but this keeps the fact that this could keep your attention for 3 hours is pretty miraculous, considering that there's a lot of 3 hour movies out there, like from the US, that are like, God, what are we doing here? Like, couldn't have trimmed this down just a little bit. But um the last thing I'll say about this is that there was it is great that this won best song at the Oscars. A lot of people were wondering how come this didn't get nominated for best international feature.
Yeah.
And there is a rule out there that each country can only submit one movie per country, and this, for whatever reason, India decided to go in a different direction. They decided to nominate a movie. It translate the title translates to like the Last Picture movie or the Last Picture show or something like that, and it didn't even make the final cut. And a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking after that is like, well, you should have put in RRR. It would have been at least nominated. And like, well, you never know in instances like this, because the other films that were nominated, because like the eventual winner was All Quiet on the Western Front, which would have taken it regardless, which is also on Netflix, which is also a great movie as well, because it's like fully in German and it's brutal, but All Quiet on the Western Front's a brutal book anyways. So, and then India last year ran into a similar issue because they not what one of the best movies to come out of India last year was the movie it was called All We Imagine as Light, and same thing, they did the same thing, they nominated something else because they were like, I we're not sure if this could make it all the way to the finish line, so let's go ahead and nominate something else that we think has a better shot, and it didn't even make the short list. So India 0 for 2, and that's a lot of criticism is coming out over the last couple of years for India on in terms of judging what they what's their criteria for nominating movies for best international feature at the Oscars, because I think this could have made some waves, because this was very well received movie, especially in the West, which that's something that if a if an Indian movie, a Bollywood movie, could break out in the West, that's pretty great success, because Hollywood has saturated the market out here. So whenever Bollywood or anything from like Asia can break through, then good for that. But Tim, good pick. I like
Thank
this
you.
a lot.
Thank you. I did a lot of research for this.
Mhm.
Has anybody here seen any Bollywood movie other than this one in the past?
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
Okay.
Not really something that I go out of my way to, but um, like, did anyone see Slumdog Millionaire? It's not technically Bollywood; it's Bollywood
That
adjacent.
that's
Um,
exactly what I was thinking of.
but
Yeah.
there is a movie that influenced Slumdog Millionaire very heavily, and that's full on Bollywood
Okay.
movie. So
For whatever reason in my head, and I think it's probably the word Bollywood, because when I hear Hollywood, it's almost like a cringe-worthy word. Like, oh, they Hollywoodized this, and oh, Hollywood did this. So I hear Bollywood, and I don't know. I just have this sort of negative feeling about seeing one of those movies, and I don't know why. I don't know if somebody else has put that in my head or if it's just my own notion, but I've had a preconceived notion that it's not the kind of movie I would want to watch. And I'm glad, Hilty, that you picked this, because um, it's that's definitely a new genre for me for having seen this movie.
don't deflect your
Um,
picking of the movie onto me, because I didn't pick it.
well, you deflected your picking of the movie on me. I thought that's anyway. Um,
Who's on first?
so I really enjoyed this, even though I did fall asleep during it. I liked the two main characters, and I liked the inevitability of them butting heads, and the plot twist of them running into each other and getting along and becoming friends before they knew that they were enemies. It's kind of a cool story. You don't. I mean, it's not like we've never seen that before, but for a 3 hour action movie, that was pretty cool. Um, Interesting that they don't use weapons for quite a while. It's just one dude beating the shit out of everybody everywhere he goes. That was unique. Um, I was when Bahim like catches the tiger. I had this idea like he like, became the spirit of a tiger, and so the tiger is coming after you. I had all kinds of weird shit going in my head as this movie started out. I'm gonna get a shut up nerd for this, but that cool scene where all the animals are in the truck. Uh, it's pretty quiet for a bunch of animals in a truck stacked in cages, and then two, all that's holding them in the cage is a burlap awning that's rolled up. And you unroll it, and they all jump out of the cage. Um, just pointing out a little flaw in reality there for you guys. Um,
How much
Right,
time have
because
you
that's
spent with
That was
tigers
the
and
flaw.
jackals and wildebeests?
yeah,
So I don't think you're
that's the
qualified
one
to even make that
I
that's the
was
one you want to point out.
assertion.
Cool,
very
cool,
close
cool,
to a
cool.
tiger at a zoo once, and there was a really tall fence in between us. I just assume that's what you need for tigers. Um, Fun watch. I don't know that the story for me is the reason I kept watching it. The action scenes and like the color and the way it's shot at times was so good that I forgot what I was watching. I was just kind of enjoying the visual and the audio, and then you get back to the story. So it was kind of interesting to watch a movie and lose the sense of plot and just enjoy the show for a minute and then get back to the sense of plot. I guess that's how musicals go. Um, but it was a wild ride. I know Aaron said, "Hey guys, I just paused after an hour, and holy shit, there's 2 hours to go," something like that. And Hilty had texted in, "Oh yeah, you guys are in for a wild ride," and that's a perfect way to describe this movie. It is definitely a wild ride. Um,
So, Tim, earlier you were kind of, it seemed like you were fishing for maybe something negative about the plot, asking, how did how'd you feel about the plot? And
mhm,
now kind of taking a little shine off the story, just saying it wasn't what kept you, um, motivated or whatever.
mhm.
And you had asked that earlier of Melo, and I liked his answer. It was a well thought out answer because he picked the movie. Um,
Hmm.
but when he said, as long as the tone, runs consistent throughout, and
Yeah.
I really like that answer because that for me that's what it was. If they would have had capes, or if this would have been from the MCU or the DCU, or you wouldn't even question that. That's part of the world that this is in, and once you um, acknowledge that or accept that's there's some supernatural things that some certain people can do. Um, just let it go. They're basically superheroes. Um, the other thing that you had said, and I really didn't think about it, about not using weapons, but the comments made 3 or 4 times throughout the movie about how expensive a bullet
A
is to
bullet
get
is
to
really
India.
expensive. Yeah.
So, I mean, you could see him maybe, yeah, used edge weapons more, but I think, you know, guns aren't a big part of the cultures or a lot of, their culture or a lot of the, I don't believe so. Um, as it is in the United States. So that might have been some of it too. They just don't see everybody with a gun all the time. But I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of um, once, like Melo said, once they establish the world, you're just in the world and you just roll with it. Was just a different, a lot of different stuff in this movie than what we're used to. So that's my
It
take
did
on
get
it.
it did get shut down twice for COVID
Oh,
because they when it was being filmed. I don't know if that included the 300 days it took to film or not, but and it did seem funny in that documentary. They'd like the director kept putting himself like during the rehearsals, he would be the main actors. It's like I bet you could get this done a lot quicker if you didn't go and do the scenes. you, you could just direct the guys on what you want, not go show them exactly what to do. But uh yeah, if you enjoyed the movie, take an hour and a half and watch that.
that sounds that sounds pretty cool. I may actually do that this week and get back to you. Because I'm fascinated about how this thing was put together. It's very, like I said, it's very
So the
different.
one one of the scenes that I was convinced was just all CGI was the underwater handshake, and they are literally in a pool with weights on their feet, holding them down and running at each other. And then they CGI a bunch of stuff into it, but no, they were literally underwater, and I was thought there was no way they're underwater for that.
Yeah, that whole scene. I mean, there's a bunch of really great action scenes, like the going into the flames with the flag and then coming out. I was, because you watching it,
He
like,
did
why's he got
that
a
too.
flag? Like, why does he have a flag? What's going on? And then it makes sense. You know, they made him go into the fire with a flag. That seems mean. That seems kind of mean.
That's
Okay,
Bollywood.
It's
so
risky.
without Matt and Dan here, there's our thoughts on the 2022 movie RRR from India. And so, as we are in the middle of this contest, it's time for everybody to make their picks. I do have from Dan and Matt. I will tell you that Matt said he believes Aaron is the one who picked RRR. And Dan, in addition to texting me some questions to ask you guys, said that he believes Hilty is the one who picked RRR. And I will go first, and I will
Wrong.
put my vote in. I also say that Hilty picked this movie. Brian, your thoughts on who picked RRR?
It's what a waste of a vote.
Tim Larson.
All right. Aaron, your thoughts on who picked RRR?
Thought it was Dan. Then the way that Hilty's protesting
I
is
know.
just drawing me over to
Yep.
him. So I got to pick Tim.
All
Got to pick
right.
Tim.
Aaron's going with a poker face reverse Uno and picking me. Wilden, your thoughts on who picked RRR?
I think despite his protest, this has Mike Hilty written all over it.
Vote for Hilty. And Melo, your thoughts on who picked RRR?
I come back to something Aaron. So I wrote a couple different names, but I come back to something Aaron said a while ago where he's talking about how I think it was Dan actually picking stuff kind of out of the blue has inspired him to pick more things or see things out. So I don't know. Based on that, I'll go with Aaron.
All right. Vote for Aaron. And Hilty, your thoughts on who picked RRR?
I'm serious. I'm picking you, Tim.
Okay. Another vote for Tim. So we got 3 Hiltys.
Throwing that
3
vote
Tims,
away, huh, Hilty?
and 2 Aarons. 3 Hiltys.
I couldn't vote for myself.
You tricked us all.
I couldn't vote for myself.
Yeah.
You can totally vote for yourself. Last
Yeah.
is when you're supposed to do it. Then nobody can change.
After
Idiots.
after we stop hitting record on these, as we've talked the last few weeks, Aaron has given us many insights as to his thought process of how statistically he's going to win this game. It's pretty interesting, but he's got a plan. He's got a plan. So that'll do it for our conversation about RRR. I have generated a random number and texted my wife. Matt is to lead the conversation next week, and our number is 6. And so I texted my wife to get what movie number 6 is, and
How
Matt
come you
will be
get to
leading the
use a
conversation
random-
for.
Never
What's
mind.
that?
Nothing. Never mind.
I can't mute while I'm talking, Hilty. We will be watching from 2020. The movie is called Palm Springs. We will be watching Palm Springs from 2020. The title gives me nothing.
I got nothing, Brian. I'm staring at everybody. My eyes are darting around the screen. I got nothing.
I believe this is Adam Sandberg.
I'm just looking it up now. Yep, it is.
Andy Sandberg.
Yep.
Has anybody seen it?
I know who
Try
picked it.
Will
Do you
you
want
I
to
have
pick
seen it. So
what, Hilty?
Nothing. I was going to make fun of you for saying Adam Sandberg.
Yeah. It's it's not worth it. I'll keep doing it. It's like it keeps happening.
It's not going to get better. Yeah. It's like learning left and right. Some people just aren't good at that.
Nope.
Yep. So, okay. Well, it'll be the movie Palm Springs. This has been RRR. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good week.
That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you as always for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcast Network.